Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Toku Turnback. I'm your host, Frozen Stratos, and today is a special day. Today we are starting a brand new Sentai for this show, Choujuu Sentai Liveman. And even more special is that this is a part of the Go Mango Toku Week. Yes, that's right. Every day this week, we will be bringing you at least one episode of tokusatsu content on this channel. Today is Toku Turnback, tomorrow is Zyuohger, and Monday is going to be our review of Kamen Rider Build. But before we get into that, we have this show to do. So let's dive right into episodes 1 through 5 of Choujuu Sentai Liveman. Now, episode 1 was an incredible introduction, and it's something that I don't think I've ever seen in Sentai before. This is a very different experience for me. These kids, like, we get to see, not really a montage, but we get to see them go through this timeline of getting their powers, of creating their powers, and because of their friends that passed away. And it's an incredible story. Just to see played out in episode 1, you really get to feel for these characters' like their plight, their all their problems, and I don't know. I really felt connected to these characters, even though this show is somewhat it is a product of its time. It's very the special effects and everything, they're just as bad as you'd think they were. And for that reason alone, I kind of love it. And we were introduced to 3 main characters, actually 4 main characters. We were introduced to a lot of characters that immediately died. Excuse me. And I mean, I guess we'll take episode 1 and 2 as kind of a two-parter. Episode 1 being Friends, Why Did You Do This? And 3 Powers Sworn to Life. And the first big surprise for me was it looks like some actors. It's kind of fitting that I guess I watched Gosei Sentai Dairanger before this, because his name Yutaka Hirose. He was one of the main villains in this show, but he was also Jin Matoba in Dairanger. And what's more, I believe, yes, Gara, Akiko Amamatsuri, sorry for getting that wrong, but she played, the Dr. Mazenda, but also played Gara in Dairanger. It was cool to see them not come back, but see where they had come from. You know what I mean? I don't know. It was it was weird. I felt like I fell into the right show coming out of Dairanger. It was nice to see those familiar faces. And they did a pretty bang up job here being villains. In comparison to Dairanger, these villains are actually competent. They're forward thinking. They're trying to get their job done. They have, their main directive is essentially like taking over the world, but for smarter people. And like I don't know. It's like they have an end goal that's motivated with some sort of sense, because in Dairanger they just wanted to take over the world to have the world. It didn't feel necessary, but this feels like they have a reason to want to take over the world. Not just for the sake of itself, and I like it. We got to spend a lot of time with them, actually. And again, I don't want to keep comparing it to Dairanger, but in comparison, like there's tons more time devoted to fleshing out like the big bad and the underlings, and it's really nice to see. We are also introduced to their teacher, Dr. Hiroshi. By the way, this is full of spoilers. If you want to watch this show, I highly recommend, at least the first 5 episodes. But I will go into spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Dr. Hiroshi friggin' just dies in episode 2. We have their friends dying in episode 1 from the main villains as students. And then Dr. Hiroshi in episode 2. They are losing people left and right, and it's kind of, I don't want to say it's unheard of, because I don't know, I need to get more Sentai under my belt, but this is something I haven't seen. Just I don't know, it really helps serve their character motivation, and to see them actually developing the powers, and not just that, like we see in episode 5 that they're making their own equipment. So I haven't seen that in a Sentai, at least in a while. In Power Rangers, I know that like Cam created the Zords for excuse me, frick. Oh, this is gonna kill me. Power Rangers. I know Hurricaneger. It got it. Frick. Power Rangers Ninja Storm. God, thank you. Yeah, so that's, I mean, for Power Rangers, it's kind of always like, there and present. But, well, not always, not recently. But now I don't know where, in terms of Sentai, where they get their powers and stuff. I mean, last time, the only time I remember any sort of explanation for that was, Professor Ulshade, who made all the Kyoryuger stuff. So that was cool, and I just like seeing this explained, and showing that they're really technically minded, and not just that, like, fighters. They were from this, like, this Academia Island, I think, and then, everything was really cool. The Zords themselves are pretty great. Like, for all I say about the cheesy special effects, they do the Zords right, and they are beautiful. The motion is fluid. Everything is incredible. It blows me away that this sort of tokusatsu existed back then, because of the limitations of I guess film and all that stuff, and cinema and whatnot. But yeah, so moving on, let's get to episode 3, where, again, we spend a lot more time with the villains. We get to develop, Dr. Obular. That's the most, American way that I could say it. Dr. Obular. And we get to see development with him and Yellow, and it's actually pretty incredible. It's interwoven pretty well. Like, they seed in these character relationships, and I can kind of see where it's headed. Like, everyone has their villain. And even in episode 4, Expose the Dummy Man, we get to see Blue butt heads with good old Gara. And everything seems very sort of tight. They set up stuff, and then they make sure to conclude it, unless they're going to tie it up later. It feels very succinct, and so far it's definitely not wasting our time, really. The only real time waster, kind of ish, would be episode 5. But it does have that subplot with Red and the sibling of his friend Takuji, I think. Yeah. I think maybe something like that. But like, and they build a car together. That's really nice. I like that. And they build one car and then it goes wild, and then they build another car and it becomes the Liveman vehicle. And also they arbitrarily name just any of their vehicles after animals. I find that a little funny just because like it's not necessary, but they do it anyway. Yeah, I also found it funny that like in episode 1 or 2, they're like, oh shoot, it can transform. Our professor secretly planted the ability to combine the robots into the... Okay, that's fine, whatever. This school, this Academy Island must have some crazy funding if they can build all these sort of weapons. But yeah, outside of that, it's been a pretty good 5 episodes. I would really recommend getting into it because I got into it because I liked the look of the suits. And I mean, I guess that's as good a place to start as any. And all the everything just looks so good. Everything is, well, most things are practical, and it's, I don't know, man, there's some sort of charm to it. And when it gets good, like the action really delivers. Yeah, so I think that just about does it for my coverage in these 5 episodes. Sorry for such a short, thing, but I guess I really spoke my piece on everything. If you like this video, hit that like button, and if you want to watch along with me, feel free to, and comment down below what you thought about these first 5 episodes. Maybe come back and watch them for yourselves and let me know. Also, subscribe if you want to hear more from us each week. This show is going to be, soon it will be bi-monthly, so every 2 times a month, and then on the in-betweens, every other month, good old buddy Michael, he will be filling in and doing his own anime show, just, interspersed in between. And this week in particular, like I said at the beginning, is Toku Week. So if you want to, get content, tokusatsu content every day in order to build up to the release of Kamen Rider Build, keep your eyes on this channel. We'll be bringing you tons of exciting reviews. Tomorrow, like I said, is the Zyuohger V Cinema, and we have some pretty good memories with it, so definitely check it out. We're really happy with it. All the links to our social medias are in the description down below, and that just about does it. See ya.